And when I tell you, it's everything that pretty much what we're about to talk about. How rappers need rap insurance just so they don't get killed, robbed, all this other stuff, man. So, there's a lot going on. And, sometimes, I understand why I kept myself from the music industry. And not to say that I never made it. I made it in my own right. But, I just do what I do or whatever the case be. But this industry, ever since the streets merged with the rap game, it's hard. It's fucked up, the game, bro. That's why music is trash, and people don't, ain't got no good music out here, man. I'm sorry, it ain't no good music out here, bro. I'm still listening to shit from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, bro, in the 90s. What's up, man?
Yes, sir. And like I said, I'm not gonna hold it up. We're gonna go ahead. I want to go ahead and touch on this. We're gonna talk about first about PnB Rock. Like I say, rest in peace to that brother. And unfortunately, his death is just part of a larger issue that we're having in our community. So we want to touch on this brother here, and then we want to also touch on, since 1987, you guys see up in the actual title, PnB Rock is a 59th rapper to be killed since 1987. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, the numbers could be a lot higher than that. I normally source up pretty well and whatnot, so this wasn't the greatest source that I found it from. But since and this was actually from Wikipedia. So, I don't even like to use Wikipedia because, I really Newstoter, we source it up. But it was pretty accurate for the most part. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to discuss this. This is something that needs to be talked about. So you guys bear with me. This article was published by Black Sports Online. If you guys haven't been to Black Sports Online, it's a entertainment, sports, culture type of website. It's one of our biggest curation partners. So piece of Black Sports Online. When you guys see some of the entertainment stuff from Newstoter, quite a bit of it comes from Black Sports Online. So black-owned sports, entertainment, culture type site. So check it out if you guys get a chance. It was also curated on the Newstoter.com platform. And the title is Rapper PnB Rock Shot in the Chest at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in LA after his girlfriend posted his location. And of course, this article was published yesterday. It is being reported by multiple outlets that rapper PnB Rock has been shot in the chest at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in LA. He was conscious at the time of the shooting but passed away shortly thereafter at the hospital. It appears his girlfriend might have alerted the shooter to his location with a post on social media, and they decided to rob and take him out in the middle of the day here in Los Angeles. It is also possible that anyone at the restaurant possibly let people know they had a famous rapper eating there. No one knows for sure, but it's always best, especially if a well-known figure, not to share your location until after you have left the establishment. Who is PnB Rock? PnB Rock real name is Rakeem Hashim Allen, born December 9, 1991, better known by his stage name PnB Rock. He's an American rapper and singer from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is best known for his 2015 single, Fleek, and 2016 single, Selfish, which peaked at number 51 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. He has released 2 studio albums, Catch These Vibes back in 2017 and Trap Star turned Pop Star back in 2019. In 2017, Allen was chosen as part of the XXL freshman class. On June 24, 2014, Rock released his debut mixtape, Real Niggas Bangers. He wrote the mixtape while he was incarcerated. In 2015, Rock signed a record deal with Atlantic Records, and under the label, he released his first project with Atlanta titled R&B 3, which was his third mixtape. In June 2016, he released his hit single, Selfish. Of course, the song once again peaked at number 51 on the Billboard Hot 100. In October 2016, Rolling Stone included him in the list of the 10 new artists you need to know about. This was PnB. This was one of the last few things that he said a few weeks ago. He says, according to PnB himself, he felt he was being watched over the last couple weeks. He thought he was being followed, and some strange men had approached him just in the store a few days previously. So the brother kind of had vibes that, some things was going on and whatnot. So like I said, definitely, y'all, if y'all out, especially if you're somebody of a large figure, never, ever, 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 ever let people know where you at. Let people know when you leave your house. Never let people know when you're on vacation. None of that stuff. Don't ever let these people know any of this kind of information like that. So definitely be careful about that. like I say, unfortunately, I feel for the young brother. I feel for his family, and really, we have a lot of people, on social media also dogging out the girlfriend. The girlfriend, saying that because of her stupidity and stuff like that, that the man was killed and stuff like that. We people don't need to be finger pointing like this right here. I'm sure the girl feels awful. So let's not make matters worse by blaming this sister right here. I'm sure she's got to be going through hell that she lost a man like that. So let's kind of chill on all of the mud slinging at this point right here. Okay, people are just sitting up here and they're accusing this girl of all kind of things, that she set him up and she did this and she was stupid and she did that. Nobody knows how heartbroken this young lady could be. So let's just go ahead before we start mudslinging and throwing accusations without any kind of merit, and start trying to label this girl as a gold digger and somebody that just was an undesirable person that had ulterior motives, because nobody knows the kind of suffering and the pain that this sister may be going through right now. Let's go ahead and keep this brother's family in our prayers. Let's also keep this girl in our prayers as well too, because like I say, I'm sure she's got to be going through hell at this point right now. And the death of this PnB Rock is just a smaller issue that we've been having since 1987. And we did a report a few months ago, and this was just a smaller report. It was part of our news cycle. We talked about rappers being killed since 1987, 1988. And this is the 59th rapper. And like I say, these are mainstream rappers that we're talking about. We don't even know about the little local rappers in your city and your state and stuff like that. For all we know, it could be in the hundreds. But this is the 59th rapper that we know that has been killed. And I'm going to go down a quick list. Some of these names I may misspell. And we're going to go back and we're going to take it back in the day. Because right now we have an epidemic going on with black men being killed in rap. This is supposed to be entertainment. This is supposed to be something that these guys are supposed to be able to build, set a legacy up, and also get paid, get back to their communities and this and that. But that's not happening right now. Right now, we have all out chaos happening right now. And I'm going to be honest. I grew up in the era where you had gangster rap. It was the conscious. I grew up and I saw enough of it. I can't say about the 70s. Didn't see that. But I was able to catch from the mid-'80s on as a young kid. So I've seen the development. I've seen the stages and different things. I saw the consciousness. I saw the bass rap in the South. I saw gangster rap. I saw the bling-bling era. I've seen it all. I've pretty much seen the entire rise of rap. I seen when older people thought that it was just a fad and it was going to play out, to it becoming the largest selling music in the world, a genre that has crossed over. So this is something that is very, very serious. Back in the day, we had KRS-One, and we had Miss Melody, and we had the East Coast to Stop the Violence, which was a huge song back in the day. Then you had the West Coast with their version of it, with Eazy-E and Tone Loc and some of the other guys. And still, 30 some odd years later, the violence has increased 50 damn fold. 50 fold. This man got shot at damn Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. So what is that? How do you think the owners of Roscoe Chicken and Waffles say, we got a young black brother that got murdered at a black-owned business? How bad is that? We're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna count down the 59 rappers that's been killed over the past 30 some odd years and see if this makes any damn sense. No other genre of music is having these issues. I can promise you, in the last 30 some odd years, it hasn't been 30 some R&B singers that done got greased. It hasn't been 30 some heavy metal singers that got greased. It hasn't been 30 some odd country singers that got greased. So the thing that we're most proud about our genre, hitting worldwide acclaim and whatnot, we have to at the same time hold our head down, because this is ridiculous. This makes no damn sense. We're seeing a damn epidemic of young black men getting killed, getting murdered, getting shot down in the street like dogs. And we can't sit up here and say it's all the white men. What in the hell is going on in our communities that an entertainer, something that we always revered and whatnot, somebody we look at as somebody that made it, somebody that's a success. These people now, they're walking around with a target on their back. Where are our old school rappers at? Where are the ones who are successful, the multi-millionaires and the billionaires? Why aren't they stepping up saying something about this? This is not fun and games. You should not have somebody getting their head blown off, sitting in a damn restaurant getting something to eat. Since 1987, we're going to go down. And like I say, forgive me because some of these names are hard to actually say, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try my best to say it. So forgive me on some of the names. We got Scott LaRock, who died back in August 27th, 1987. Scott LaRock, of course, for those that don't know, he was with KRS-One. He got killed in New York City. He died of a shooting. He was 25. You got Paul C. back in July 17th, 1989. 24. Died in New York City shooting. You had Danny D-Boy Rodriguez, October 6th, 1990. 22 years of age, died in Dallas, Texas, shooting. You had Charazma, December 16th, 1993. 20 years of age, died in California, shooting. You had Stretch, who used to be with Tupac before they had a falling out and whatnot, died in November 30th, 1995, 27 years of age, New York City, shooting. You had Seagram, July 31st, 1996, age 26, Oakland, California, shooting. Of course, we know Tupac Shakur. Tupac died. This guy died, Seagram died in July. Tupac dies in September. He dies on September 13th, 1996. We already know Vegas 25 drive-by shooting. You had his boy Gaddafi, November 10th, 1996. 19 years of age. He dies in Orange, New Jersey, shooting. We got Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls, of course. We know Biggie, March 1997. 24 years of age, Los Angeles, drive-by shooting. We got Fat Pat down here in the South, February 3rd, 1998, 27, Houston, Texas, shooting. We got Big L, legendary underground rapper getting ready to hit superstardom in New York. Big L, he died February 15th, 1999, age 24, New York City, shooting. We got Freaky Ty with the Lost Boys, March 28th, 1999, age 27, New York City, shooting. We got down here in Florida, my man DJ Uncle Al, September 10th, 2001, age 32. I guess by the standards of everybody else, he was an older man. Age 32, was young as hell, 32 years old, Miami, Florida, shooting. Of course, we got legendary DJ Jam Master Jay, October 30th, 2002, 37, still a young man, New York City, shooting. We got rapper Sabotage, January 24th, 2003, age 29, in Brazil, shooting. We got Camouflage, May 19th, 2003, 21, Savannah, Georgia, shooting. We got Half a Mil, October 24th, 2003, 30, New York City, shooting. We got Soldier Slim, November 26th, 2003, age 26, New Orleans, shooting. We got Mac Dre, November 1st, 2004, 34, Kansas City, shooting. We got Blade Icewood, April 19th, 2005, 28, Detroit, Michigan, shooting. We got Proof, April 11th, 2006, age 32, Detroit, Michigan, shooting. We got Big Hawk, May 1st, 2006, 36 years of age, Houston, Texas, shooting. We got VL Mike, April 20, 2008, 32, New Orleans, shooting. We got Dollar, May 18th, 2009, 21, Los Angeles, California, shooting. We got Lily, July 1st, 2010, Puerto Rico, shooting. Hold on, we ain't done. We got Magnolia Shorty, age 28, New Orleans, shooting. We got Bad News Brown, 33, Montreal, Quebec, shooting. We got Adane, June 1st, 2012, Mexico. I don't know if he's black or not, but still, he gets labeled a rapper, shooting. We got Lil Fat, June 7th, 2012, 19, Sandy Springs, Georgia, shooting. We got MC Delesty, July 7, 2013, 20, Brazil. I don't know if he's black or not. Some of these people, I don't know if they black, but they getting put in there with the rappers. This other one, Pavalos, he was 34, Greece. I don't know if he's black or not, but he was considered a stabbing. You got this other, now you got some of these other ones that's not even from America. The Deep Z-Man or whoever, September 21st, 2013, 18. He's in England. We got Dobie, December 28th, 2013, Montgomery, Alabama. The Jacker, February 2nd, 2015, Oakland. We got somebody in Africa, so they put an African up in here. Flabba, March 9th, 2015, 37. You got Chink Drugs. He was 31, May 2015, New York City shooting. Bankroll Fresh, March 4th, 2016, age 28, Atlanta, Georgia shooting. 3-2, Houston, Texas shooting. You got XXX, June 18, 2018, 20 years of age, down in Deerfield Beach in Florida shooting. You got Jimmy Wapo, 21, Pittsburgh, Smoke Dog, June 30th, 2018, 21. He's in Toronto. Young Greatness, New Orleans. He was 34, October 29th, 2018. You got Feast, and this person is in Netherlands. So some of these people, not even a few of them, not even from America, but they gonna include him anyways. He was 32. You got Kevin Fret. This person is, I don't know who this person was. Kevin Fret, January 10th, 2019. At Puerto Rico. Nipsey Hussle, of course, we all know Nipsey Hussle, March 31st, 2019, 33 years of age, Los Angeles shooting. Pop Smoke, no Pop Smoke, February 19, 2020, 20 years old, Los Angeles. Houdini, May 26, 2021, supposed to be in Toronto, Canada. Huey, June 25th, 2020, 31, Missouri. King Von, November 6, 26 years old, Atlanta, Georgia. Mo 3, Dallas, Texas. He was 28, November 11, 2020. This other person, I don't know him, so I'm just going to, his name is Lanu or something. He's in Sweden. He died at 19. Young Dolph, 36, November 17, 2021, shooting, Tennessee. Draco the Ruler, December 19, 2021, 28. Snooty Wild, February 27, 2022, 36, Houston, Texas, shooting. Archie Eversole, down in Georgia, April 5th, 2022, 37, shooting. We got Trouble, June 5th, 2022, Atlanta, Georgia. Jay the Youngin, July 27th, 24 years of age in Louisiana, and of course PnB Rock. And we had another person, last name was Waller, but he was over in India, so I'd assume that he's an Indian rapper. So yeah, this is just a kind of outright murder and outright havoc we've been having right here. So I'm gonna fall back. I see Black Pressure that you got you're requesting to speak. Anything, DJ? You got something to say real quick, bro?
No, I'm in the store real quick. I got to yell.
Okay.
I'm listening, though.
And for anybody who wants to speak tonight, please don't hesitate. Go ahead and raise your hand. Request to speak. We'll definitely come up here and let you speak. But you see right now, and I promise you, and it's a sad thing to say, but are we going to even get out of 2022 without another black man, another rapper being murdered? And like I say, this is just this list here. This is not your local rappers or your local DJs in your city, your state, who may not have national acclaim that most people don't know of. I can guarantee you that it's much more than that. I can guarantee you probably talk about over 100 rappers that have been murdered since 1987. And nobody sees that this is some kind of national crisis. I guess people feel that, hey, when you rap about violence, when you talk about violence, when you talk about things of this nature, you pretty much deserve what you get. And we can't look at it like that. We're seeing young lives lost. How is this reflecting on young black men all across this world as well, too? What is the perception of young black men that even when we got money, we still find a way to get our heads blown off? You know, this is really frightening. This is really scary. And the fact that, like I say, it has become a norm. People talk about it. Nobody really, they'll mention it. They'll say something about it. Yeah, that's a tragedy. that's so bad and this and that, and then it's gone. And then 2 weeks later, another black man, another rapper's getting his head blown off, getting his chest opened up. Black Native, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, Newstoter. I'm glad you touched on this subject. I did a post, I think it was in 2020, and it had a list of 200 rappers. Some of them, like you said, were local and they weren't famous, but it was over 200 rappers that were murdered in the year 2020. And when I did the post, I tweeted it and I said, nobody seems to be talking about all these rappers that are being murdered. Most of them were like 19, like maybe one or two were in their 30s. And it was also female rappers that were on that list. And I saw the video on YouTube, and it's crazy because when you watch the videos, a lot of them had, I don't know if they were real or fake AK-47s. That's what the videos were, like guns. They were like talking about murder and all this stuff. And I was like, why would anybody at this point want to even rap when your people that or people in your community is plotting on your life? Now, I remember when Freaky Ty got murdered. I remember when Jam Master Jay got murdered, Biggie, all of them. And it seems like it's just, and that was kind of, when that was going on, it was kind of odd. You know what I'm saying? Because rap wasn't really about violence at that time. But now it seems like every other month, that a rapper is being murdered. And it's to the point where I don't even know why people would want to even get in the rap game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them that are rapping, which came from the streets, and that was their way out. Going, I guess, doing illegal to legal shit. But then, they getting murdered. And I wonder why the FBI is not picking up on this, because this is serious. And I'm glad you're doing this, this space in reference to that. And I just wanted to land my plane and just let you know, I also had tweeted this 2 years ago, and it's like it went on deaf ears. So I'm glad you're talking about it right now. I'll land on that. Thank you.
You're welcome, sister. And you're right. Like I said, we had a space, and since I've had Newstoter, I've been tweeting out, and I can't even keep up with the amount of rappers that get killed or whatever, because I tweeted out or whatever, and you kind of come and just kind of get immune to all of it and whatnot. So I've been seeing it for the past 5 years and whatnot. And it's like, damn, sometimes like it's like I swear sometimes it's like a month or two apart, and even it seems like weeks apart or whatever. It's just like it's just constantly happening. Nobody says anything. They'll talk about it. They'll talk about how dangerous it is to be a rapper and this and that, but in terms of like the mainstream people, the mainstream black people and whatnot, you would think that some of these mega stars and whatnot would say something about it. Whether you're a rapper or you're an actor or whatever, you don't have to a ball player. Nobody's saying anything. It's like how many more of these black men got to be murdered before it's a change that's gonna happen here? It should be wearing us out as a people, because like I said, for one, you're talking about people that have a chance to actually get out of their surroundings, to better themselves, to secure the future for not only themselves but their family, to better their community, enhance the lives of those who look up to them. Instead, it's just the opposite. It's like no matter how much money you get, how much fame you get, it's still, and then it'd be one thing if this is kind of self-inflicted, but you got people out here just murdering people left and right. And it seems like the more rappers that get murdered, it inspires. It's almost like some of these mass murderers. It's like the more rappers that get killed, then you have more people that it emboldens them to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna put me a bullet in a nigga now too. I can't stand this nigga here. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna shoot somebody. That's the kind of mindset that we're dealing with as a people here. And like I said, it's not touching the nerve. It's not striking a nerve. We go on and we sit up here and we just walk away and act like, hey, yeah, that's terrible. And then, like I say, in a month or two later, let's see. We in September. What's the day? September the 13th. Let's see if we get out of the year 2022 without another rapper being killed. let's see if we can make it to 2023 without another rapper being shot down in the street. I don't know what the hell is going on. Like I say, entertainment is supposed to, to do just that. Be entertainment. You entertain people. You go home. You live your life. Now we got people that can't even, like I say, in their 20s, they're 19. If you got, I mean, I guess some of the older rappers were 37 years of age, so they consider that probably an old man or whatever. But it's just ridiculous what's going on here. It gets some media coverage. We sit there, we talk about it. Oh, that's a shame, and what's going on in rap and this and that. But you don't hear any of the elders in rap. And I made that same point when we was talking about the thing to a lesser degree, and it is a lesser degree when we talking about Fat Joe and them and busting them coming in and taking culture and whatnot. But you don't hear any of these major rap stars saying, "Hey, man, enough is enough. We're gonna have to reform rap. We're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do that." Everybody pretty much like, "Hey, man, I got my own life. I'm making money. I came up, and I guess maybe because so many of these rappers that we know and we love and respect, so many of them, let's be honest, because like I say, I came up in the 80s. I saw it all. I saw from the Fat Boys and I saw from LL Cool J towards the end of the 80s. When I was still in elementary school, I started seeing a change in rap. You started seeing the gangster rap coming. No, it had not become full circle. It had not taken over. But it was a genre that was catching on, that was building steam and whatnot. And by the time you got to the early mid '90s, gangster rap was kind of replacing the actual conscious type rap and whatnot. So, maybe you have a lot of the gangster rappers and the ones that actually made a lot of money, made millions or billions of dollars off of this, saying, hey, I can't be a hypocrite. I can't sit up here and talk about these young guys and what they doing and how they living and this and that. When I was the same way, when I was 20-some years of age, I was putting out the same lyrics and the same type of verses and this and that, and it made me a millionaire. It allowed me to get a clothing line. It allowed me to get a record label. It allowed me to get this and get that. So I can't come out here and be a hater, and I can't sit up here and throw dirt on these boys and say, well, hey, y'all shouldn't talk about this and that because, at the same time, they're going to look at me and they're going to say, who the hell is you? I got your album from back in 96 when you were saying the same thing about busting on dudes and pistol whipping people and going up in a nigga house and putting the pistol up in their mouth and getting the damn safe about the house. So that's what we had as a people. I think some of these rappers who done made it and who made it off of that genre of music, they kind of like, they're a little bit like, well, hey, I can't be a hypocrite here. I can't point the finger and say, hey, y'all need to do better. We need to change the way we living because I became a multi-millionaire saying the same exact thing as you. The only difference, like you say, when Biggie and Tupac got killed, it was a shock. You would have rappers get killed every so often, or maybe something, but it was never to the point where, it was just in the news all the time. So when Tupac got killed, and then 6 months later Biggie got killed, you kind of was like, wow, that kind of made you think or whatever. It wasn't something. It wasn't an everyday occurrence. It wasn't an every other month occurrence. It wasn't an every year occurrence. Now it's almost like an every other month occurrence, if not the same month. It's definitely going to be multiple rappers throughout the year that get murdered and get killed. So this is just something, man, that as a people, we're not doing a good job of addressing. We're just pretty much letting ride because I guess we don't want to cause any waves, and our people in the industry don't want to cause any waves. Ray, you got it.
What's going on, everybody in the space? I'm sorry I'm having some connection issues. I just wanted to say this real quick before it cuts out again. We have an underclass within our community of people, and we're just going to be honest, that don't like to see us do well regardless. If you're willing to take the life of someone over a chain or something as trivial as, just something extremely trivial like that, you don't really belong in our society, but we have that. And like you said, this fool, now he done went out and killed somebody, so eventually police are going to get him. He's going to be locked up for life. Obviously, PnB Rock, he's dead now. His son, if he has any kids, the kids will have to grow up their father. And again, I don't like the fact they're trying to blame the wife or the girlfriend. She has nothing to do with this. You need to put the blame where the blame belongs, on the dusty niggas that went and did the killing. That's who the blame needs to be put on. Because it's 2022. You should be able to go post, I'm at Waffle House or Roscoe Chicken and Waffles or whatever. You should be able to go do that without getting murdered in front of your wife and kids. That's some fuckboy shit, if I'm just gonna be honest. And we need to outcast the people out of our society. I mean, what's the reason of game 2022? I mean, really, we all see they only lead to two or three places: the cemetery, jail, things like that. Nothing ever really good comes out of it. So I don't understand what's in our community that makes these young kids so drawn to it. And I land my plane on that. R.I.P. to the brother, and R.I.P. to Tupac, because today is the day, as you said earlier, that he transitioned. That he got killed in Las Vegas September 13th.
Damn, I forgot all about that too, man. I was in high school when that happened, so I mean, I forgot all about that. I remember that night I was getting ready to go out, go to a party, and my boy came and picked me up, and he was like, "Damn," he like Pac just got, because we know he got shot, So and like everybody said, he had got shot before, so you kind of assume like, yeah, okay, well Tupac, he gonna make it, he gonna come back or whatever. And my boy was like, "Damn," he like, "You ain't heard?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, Tupac dead. I'm like, what? So we getting ready to go out a party at 96. We getting ready to go out to a party. We in high school, and we hear the news that the man Tupac is dead. Like, wow. And then, like I say, 6 months later, we hear the news that Biggie's dead. And then, like I say, as bad as that was 20 some odd years ago, it's worse now. It's worse. And it's like, I'm telling you, it's like people almost got a badge of honor now for picking rappers off. Am I saying that these rappers are innocent and this and that? No, but it don't give you the right to go out there and murder somebody. And for the people that's sitting up here trying to blame this woman, this man's girlfriend, sitting up here trying to say that she gave up the location and it's her fault, man, get your head up out your ass and be a man. That girl did not have some idiot come up here and blow the man away she loves. So people need to go ahead and they need to tighten up. We as a people, we sometimes look to just blame people and stuff like that. Let's blame the people that went ahead, like you said, Ray, the dusty niggas who had nothing else better to do but to sit up here and try to rob somebody and kill somebody. Now, when the police get them, I don't want to hear a bunch of black people sitting up here kissing their ass and talking about poor them, woe is that, woe is that. Like I say, 59 black people, and like the sister Black Native say, because she talked about black women that was rappers as well too. I'm telling you, if we would add up all the local rappers and DJs throughout the country, we probably talk about in the hundreds that's been murdered. Just gunned down. Just gunned down. Black people that could have contributed to our community, helped us rise and whatnot as a people that left their families behind, people that had kids, left their mothers and fathers behind, brothers and sisters dead. Over what? Over BS. You got it, Ray.
I know. I just want to agree with you on that because it is complete BS. You can't say that because she shared that picture, that is what led to his death. Like I said, the brother was very popular. He put out that song "Every Day We Live," and you can't tell me shit. So that's why I know I wasn't a big fan. I'm not gonna sit there and say I was, but if I was to see him out, I would recognize him. So I'm pretty sure if I recognize him, someone else would have recognized him. So how do we know someone else didn't snap a picture like, hey, I'm in here eating and what's his name? PnB Rock is right here. Anybody could have seen that. And I hate that you're trying to throw that on that woman because, like you said, she's already got enough going on. She just lost her boyfriend, husband. Now she's going to have to raise the baby by herself. And like I said, you don't get no strikes for killing nobody, a family, and damn, not Waffle. I keep wanting to say Waffle House and Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. You don't get no strikes for that. That's some coward shit, man. Like I said, we need to be calling out, this subsect of black society because, like we always know, there's black people and then there's niggas. That's what it is. I land on that, man. I
Yeah, and I'm gonna kick it to you, Black Native. Another thing we need to do is stop all of this damn gender divide stuff too. Because anytime something happens, we quick, oh, it's the black man's fault. So, oh, it's the black woman's fault. No, how about like you said, it's the person's fault that did something. We need to go ahead and stop all of this right here because all that does is create more and more problems. That sister had nothing to do with these animals that shot this dude down like that. Not a damn thing to do with it. And I'm getting tired of people already sitting up here trying to paint a narrative that she was the reason that he got killed. No, the reason he got killed was because you had a bunch of fools that felt like killing somebody yesterday. That's why he got killed. If these fools didn't have that in their mindset, whether that girl told them that he was at the Waffle House or he was at KFC or he was at McDonald's or whatever, he would still be alive. But the simple fact is that you had a bunch of sorry ass niggas that had nothing else better to do but to go in and take somebody's life behind nonsense is why he's dead. Not his girlfriend. She didn't have a thing to do with it. And we need to stop that. And when people start coming up with that type of topic and that type of talking point, we need to go ahead and silence them quick like. Black Native, you got next, and then Rivera, we're going to go ahead and get to you.
Yeah, Ray took the words out of my mouth. We got black people and we got niggas. And black people is tired of niggas, for real. Now, from what I understand, I don't really know who PnB Rock. I just started hearing about him. His girlfriend, they had a 9-year-old child. And I think they have a 2 or 3-year-old. So she's been with this guy for 9 years. So I'm kind of confused as to why people, and I think the guy from Florida, what's the rapper, the dude from Florida? The Haitian.
I talk about Kodak Black, are you?
Kodak Black made
a
statement that she has something to do with it, just out the clear blue sky. Now I don't understand why she would want to. First of all, kill her children's father, who's taking care of her and his kids at the same time. That doesn't make sense. It's not like she just met the guy and then set him up. They have a 9-year-old child together, so they've been in a long-term relationship. So that's crazy that they would want to pin it on her when you got, like you said, niggas just coming in killing him in front of his wife and his children. Now, when you were saying that these rappers who have pretty much, like, the first time I heard gangster rap was with what's the name of them from California?
NWA.
Right. They were the first. But come to find out, they wasn't even really living like that. They came from good homes, I think, except for Eazy-E. I think he was like selling the drugs, but then, he went legit. But, they wasn't even living that type of life that they was promoting. But then, like you said, it just started, like, it took over the conscious rap, and then we came out with Mobb Deep. We had Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac. This whole gangster shit, took over. And, music has, influences people's minds. People, they have, like what you say, the different sound waves and stuff like that can influence you. If you hear like something that might hype you up, like if I listen to DMX, I'm hyped. But then if I listen to, say, Stevie Wonder, it'll mellow me out. So music does influence a person. But we ain't gonna just try to put it on rap and say, oh, we need to ban. Nah, we ain't gonna try to ban rap. But these old head niggas that was the ones out here promoting that shit, like 50 Cent and all of them, need to have a meeting and have some of these younger rappers and have a conversation with them and be like, yo, this ain't the move. You know what I'm saying? You're killing each other. You out here to make money. That's the whole reason why you rapping. You want to get out of the hood. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in there and still making millions of dollars and you hanging in the hood. That shit is stupid as hell. So, yeah, they need to come together. They need to say something. And they're not saying anything. And they know that, and they're hearing the information just like we're hearing it. Because I think 50 Cent brought Pop Smoke on. I think that was his protege. Because he sounds just like 50 Cent. So, yeah, they need to come together and have some type of rap forum or conference and have these younger rappers come in here and tell them, try to guide them on a different way of life. But then, you know what I'm saying, they could do something good, and then you got haters that's, mad because they making money. So, I don't know. I'm just going to let my things on that.
You're right, sis. So they do need to come together. They need to put their heads together. And like I say, my only issue is that the ones that did make millions and millions of dollars off the gangster rap, I think a little bit of them are hesitant to say, you know what, am I going to get called out if I... Think about it. If 50 Cent was to come up to some of these young rappers here, and he was to say, hey, man, y'all kind of need to leave that lifestyle alone and this and that and whatever. The people, man, the young rappers like, well, now you want us to leave it alone after you done made your millions of dollars. Who are you to come and tell me I should leave it alone? Like, back in 2003, when you was dropping 2003, 4, when you was dropping Get Rich, Die, Get Rich Trying or whatever, like, you wasn't feeling like that when you was hungry and you was trying to feed your family and you was trying to come up and whatever. You didn't say leave it alone. No, you went ahead and you put disc records. You talked about being shot. You went at Ja Rule. You talked about all kind of different things. So why should you be able to go ahead and make your money and buy your vitamin water company and live in Mike Tyson's mansion and everything else and live the fine high life? Yeah, we trying to get where you at. Why should you be able to tell us, like, they may respect it more somebody like Common, who was never a gangster rap or something, come up to him and say something like that. But when you have another person that's in the gangster rap genre, so to speak, now maybe if you had somebody like Nas, who also was so versatile that Nas could go and do different things, maybe that may ring a bell with some of them or whatever. But I think a lot of them like, hey, because even Jay-Z, I know the media always gives Jay-Z a pass. They have like Jay-Z just so cerebral and this and that. But you know, Jay-Z, even though he's a spitter, Jay-Z was under the genre also what we consider gangster rap. Like, even though I don't consider him myself a gangster, but Jay-Z, you know, talked about dealing dope and talked about a number of different things or whatever. So I think that you may have a kickback with something like that, but something needs to be done. Whether the actual artists themselves are going to say that, or the actual people, such as you and I, and the actual people that's living in these communities, because easily somebody else could have got shot. You know, unfortunately, this brother got shot and killed. But what's happened if an innocent bystander would have took a bullet as well? That was meant for him. Kill this man who's a rapper, and also kill the innocent bystander. Maybe it's a 10-year-old girl that catches a straight bullet. What do we say then? How do we feel then? Rivera, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going Rivera, Black Pressure, DJ, and Ray. So go ahead, Rivera, and unmute your mic, bro.
Okay. Yeah, that PnB situation is pretty interesting. I was going to go into a spiel about me going to California, but I'm not. I want to talk about. I'm 38. Just for some context, I've lived in Oklahoma pretty much my entire life, but I did live in New York, and when I did, I lived in Hempstead, New York. That was '97, and I remember being kind of immersed in hip hop, the real hip hop, and I'm probably like maybe 13 years old at the time. And I listened to KRS-One, and I listened to Diggable Planets and stuff like that. I know I don't think they're from New York, but I listen to extremely like intelligent hip hop. And if you look on my profile, there's a video by a guy, well, it's posted by a guy named Fireballs. This guy goes into detail about how the record labels were pushing, this guy was an artist, they were pushing artists to promote violence. And if it was something, he makes an example about Young Buck. And in Young Buck's album, they cut out one of the songs, the record execs cut out one of the songs because it was promoting violence against police officers. Excuse me. And they said, no, you can't do this. Absolutely not. You got to remove this. But all the other songs about him killing black youth were absolutely okay to make. And then he goes on to say, and after that, you know, that became the thing. So going back to the New York experience, I came back to Oklahoma, I'm listening to all this shit. They called it science rap here. The first thing that I saw that really concerned me, I was collecting the Source magazines, and I would actually read the articles when I lived in New York because I was obsessed with hip hop. I come here, and the first thing that I seen that concerned me was Master P. Now I know I'm gonna catch a lot of flack because I didn't like that shit. I'm going 13 going on 14. I thought the music and the lyrical content was kind of ignorant. I didn't like the way that, you know, the Ice Cream Man, and it just was, it seemed like dumbing down of music. I could stand, you know, an Ice Cube or NWA and Eazy-E. Even with Eazy-E and Too Short, my sisters listen to that and they're way older than me. I couldn't really like get down with that because the lyrics weren't pushing me to be a good person, I felt like. But anyways, I digress. What I saw was, and I noticed, I would have all these Source magazines and I would read them. I'd read all the articles that I would want to read about the hip hop artists I like or how to make beats. Sometimes I read stuff about finance and shit in there. It was really interesting. But I seen girls and other dudes, they wouldn't even read the articles. They would just pick out the pictures out of the magazines of Master P or the pictures of the dudes with the money and the jewelry on, and they'd be like, oh yeah, this is what I want. I'm just trying to get some money. I'm like, you're not even reading the fucking articles. You just paid $5 for this magazine. You're not gonna read the article. You're just gonna pull the cause fuck all that reading shit. I just want to hear all the, I just want to look at this and look at the dumbass pictures. And then you listening to these albums, and I'm listening just for the sake of wanting to listen to the album, and I'm gonna stop right here. I'm listening to these records, and 90% of the damn records is selling dope to your own people and killing people, killing your own people. Nothing about killing police officers. For the most part, the only time I would hear that was like a Big L record, or I think Notorious B.I.G. said some stuff, or Tupac. You wouldn't hear that shit from these other dudes. They, even when it was probably an independent record label, they strayed away from it. So we place this blame, and I'm gonna end here. We place this blame on Young Thug when he turned the other way when they asked him about, I think it was a young man that was in Florida that got killed. He turned the other way when they asked him a question, when the news reporter asked him a question. We've been doing that. These rappers have been doing that shit since the fucking beginning of this stuff. They may not have been asked by news reporters, but they've been doing that just benign neglect bullshit since the beginning. And you can hear it based on the records that they were producing. And that's all I wanted to say.
Rivera, let me ask you one quick question before you mute your mic. Is there anything in your opinion that you think that we, the public, can do to go ahead and try to change this narrative or whatever? Is there anything? Because back in the day, I know you say you're 38. I'm here in Florida, so I saw it all. I saw when NWA came up started coming up into prominence, because one of my cousins at the time, he was a couple years older than me. He had a tape right there, and I'm like, he like, you know what the name of this group is? I'm like in 5th grade. I'm like, what's the name? He like, their name is NWA. You know what it stands for? I'm like, no, what does it stand for? He's like, it stands for niggas with attitude. I'm like, oh, for real? Back then, people, black people didn't really go around calling other black people nigga. When they did call a black person a nigga, it normally was not a term of endearment. They may see somebody come bopping up and down the street, and you hear an older black man, especially, like, look at this ignorant nigga up here just bopping up and down the street. It wasn't until the 90s that calling yourself nigga was an acceptable term for black people. Back when I was growing up, you said nigga, and black people would call you a nigga. Like, look at this ignorant nigga. But when they said it, it meant to cut you. It wasn't like, oh, that's my brother, that's my dog. They're like, hey, this is somebody who is totally worthless in my eyes. That when they said that, and you heard men say that a lot, black men, not a lot, but when they said it, it was something like, wow, like, man, like, you didn't walk around. I think I was a young kid one time, maybe 6, 7 years old, and I was on the playground, and I called another kid a nigga. I think it was on my cousin, like, and my mom came outside. She like, who said that? Did you say that? I'm like, no, like, you wasn't gonna go around saying, like, you just didn't go around calling black people nigga. But it was around about 92, 93, niggas started becoming fashionable, and we adopted the word nigga. So just getting back to your point, I saw NWA come up. I couldn't listen to that music because I was too young, so I had to sneak and listen to it with the big boys. I saw, and not only that, at the same time NWA was coming out, I kid you not, you had 2 Live Crew and Luke coming up. You had to pop that coochie. You had Me So Horny. All that stuff was popping off back in 89, 90 and whatnot. So you had both of these genres of music, of hip-hop or rap, or you want to say, coming up at the same time. And when a lot of black people at the time, because a lot of people think that black people just went ahead and say, you know what, go ahead and play that music. You had a lot of older black people at that time that pushed back, that said, this is detrimental. We can't have this and that. But at the same time, we had the artists themselves that were saying, hey, we got freedom of right. We got freedom of speech. We should be able to say what we want to say. We should be able to do this, do that. Because Luke was getting locked up here in Florida. Luke was getting locked up for indecent exposure and everything else. So Luke, when he came out with the song "Ban the USA," it was a reason. So you had a lot of black people that was fighting against that. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kick it to you, Black Pressure, but just to let you know, like, that era that we can't, and like both of them came up at the same time. Like it was something else. Black Pressure, you got it though.
Hey, so to the black family, man, peace to the host. Hey, News. I mean, let me say this: all of y'all make great points. There's a few things that I do want to mention about some of the rappers. that we do bash the rappers, even myself, but also you got to give some of them credit too, even though we might perceive a lot of things as like negativity. I'll start with NWA. That energy they had, we ought to give credit to them when they came out with "Fuck the Police," and I'll tell you why. After the Rodney King beating, it all came out when you talk to the residents of Southern California and all the people in that area. Like you said, News, the world viewed that video and we were shocked. You talk to the black family in LA and they was like, well, shit, we see that all the time. That wasn't nothing new to us. Like I say, the world was shocked. So that you remember when all the black church, you put that in quotations, came out to condemn the police that beat Rodney King. When you go back and look, like some of the members of NWA and a lot of the black leaders in that area said, well, man, when the news camera showed up, all the black church wanted to come out. But you know what? NWA was bold enough to say, hey, this is the shit that's going on and nobody's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, I'm guilty of giving some of the rappers, a hard time, but we got to look past a lot of I would say the verbiage they use and a lot of their lexicon, and you got to look at a lot of their energy that I guess you could say some of that Panther energy that was coming out of that area. Even, I'll switch coast to the East Coast, and when you talk about Public Enemy and Chuck D, Fight the Power, same energy, different subject matter. But I'll move on to a lot of us were talking about the things, the imagery, and a lot of the subject matter the rappers they come out with and they indoctrinate our kids. We got to remember, rappers don't control a damn thing. It's the record companies, like the brother before me that spoke. It's the record companies that green light what's going to come out and what's not going to come out. Because I challenge all y'all to go to YouTube and just look this stuff up. We can talk about Notorious B.I.G. That player image he had, that was molded. That was something that was molded and given to him. Biggie wasn't a player. Biggie didn't have women. Like I say, when they molded that image and gave it to him and sold it to us, we thought Cuz had women and wherever he went, he picked up all the girls. That was an image molded to him by somebody in the record company gave that a green light. I can keep going on and on and on, but I want to sit back and listen. I'll land my plane.
All right. Supreme, go ahead. We're going to get back to you, Ray. Supreme, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, what's going on? I just pretty much wanted to say, I can't sit up here and blame rappers for anything. Rappers don't create the conditions that they rap about. It's pretty much like a chicken and egg thing. The rap is the final result, just kind of like what the brother that just spoke alluded to. These guys nowadays, they pretty much with this drill shit, they pretty much put in work and just go rap about exactly what they did. And the shit don't start from the rap music. It starts from the conditions that they already have and their projects, the beefs, the fighting over petty shit, the money. Like, that's all conditions of the hood. Like, that don't have nothing to do with music. If there was better conditions, they would rap about different shit. Because as a consumer, it's not like just gangster shit goes number one. We've seen all type of number one rap records. We've seen number one rap records about any type of subject matter. So it's not like we're just willing to consume one thing. It's pretty much like the conditions. And we're not the only genre of music that raps about gangster shit or raps about violence or like portrays violence. If you listen to country records or whatever, they talk about shooting, robbing, and all of this other type of crazy shit. Country music artists don't get shot and robbed and dragged out in the street and none of like that. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, a rock artist, like, they do all types of drugs and shit. They don't get locked up and all of this. So what we're talking about is, it's pretty much the same thing as we talk about just as far as America. Like, as far as our conditions are just worse off, and we just get the worst end of the stick. And our situations, are worse because you won't find a white equivalent of, all of these rappers, dozens of white artists murdered,
violently murdered in a 3-year period of time or anything like that. So yeah, I just can't really be dumping on the artist. At least whatever the subject matter is, we cannot like it or whatever. They're trying at least to do some different shit. And the problem is really starts from something else that's way bigger than that we all pretty much are working on. So I'll leave it there.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say that because, I mean, like I said, I grew up listening to it. You know, I can separate actual music from what's actually going on. So, I'm not going to sit up here and say that the rappers and stuff are 100% the fault of it. What I am saying is that the type of music that's been put out over the past 30-some years does have some bearing on what's going on. I mean, that's just being realistic. If all you talk about, I mean, if all you talk about is selling, I mean, and let's be for real, let's be honest here too now. One of the big things that a lot of rappers did put out, and that's not all, because like you said, we have all kind of different types of rap genres as well. But if the main, and let's be for real, the biggest rap selling genre was gangster rap. Gangster rap surpassed every other genre of music there was in terms of rap, and it's surpassed every other music at one point or another too. So, but the thing is that if you're telling, you're saying you're constantly telling people, well, I dropped out of high school and I started slanging dope, and and now I'm a rapper. That has an effect on people to a certain degree, brother. Like if you're sitting up here, no, don't. I know you're unmuting your mic, but let me go ahead and finish because I didn't interrupt. But if you're sitting up here telling people that I dropped out of school, I started selling drugs, and now look at me, I'm a millionaire, that's going to have a bearing on some. That's not going to have a bearing on all people because, a lot of people like you and me, we're going to say, well, hey, this is entertainment. This is just people talking noise. This is entertainment, whatever. But it is going to get some weak-minded individuals out there that's going to sit up there and think, well, hey, I don't need school. Let me go ahead and drop out. Let me go ahead and get me an 8-ball. Let me go ahead and start selling dope. Let me start packing a pistol and whatnot. Worst thing come worst, I can go ahead and I can get me a career in rap, and then I can start putting out platinum singles. Like I say, that's not the majority of people that listen to it, because the majority of us know that it's just music. But at the same time, we have to also be honest and whatnot too. Like there's music that we could all listen to as a family growing up and stuff. There's music that my uncles and them had albums and stuff like that they could put on from the 70s that the entire family could sit down and listen to. There, even some of my favorite, because I had Biggie CDs, I had Tupac, I had Jay-Z, I had Ice Cube, I had some of everybody. You can't sit there with all of that, and you can't have your 9-year-old child in there listening to everything that you're listening to. It's just like Rudy Ray Moore. Like I understand, like you had people that had the Rudy Ray Moore tapes back in the day. Well, you can't let your 10-year-old listen to everything that Rudy Ray Moore is going to say. There is a reason that they started putting those parental advisory tags on the actual labels and whatnot. With that said, that still don't give anybody any right to go out there and start shooting and killing rappers and stuff like that because of what they're saying and this and that. So that's what I'm saying. There's a bigger issue. And the issue I'm saying is that the people that's in rap music now, some of the heads, they need to go ahead and they need to have a sit down with some of these younger rappers so they aren't getting killed. Whether that means changing the way you rap or changing or whatever, something needs to be done because you got how many people that I put up here? That's 59 people in the past 30 some odd years that's been killed. And like I say, it's a lot higher than that. If you look at the actual local rappers and stuff like that in these cities and in these places and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if we weren't well in the hundreds. And no genre of music. Because R&B and stuff like that, they talked about real things as well and stuff like that. I heard you say country music and this and that, but you've never had any R&B stars getting killed to this point like that. You never had any soul stars getting killed to this point like that. You never had any gospel. So the same places that these rappers came from, these R&B singers also came from as well too. So we got a bunch of R&B stars and singers and stuff like that also came from the projects, that also seen drugs, that also seen pimps and this and that, yet they aren't being murdered the way that our rappers are being murdered. So it's something in the actual, it's a reason also that, back in the day, KRS-One, and that's before gangster rap even came on. It's about the actual, you're right, it's the community itself, our community. It's a reason they had to stop the violence and whatnot. You had it on the East Coast and you had it on the West Coast. So no, I would never put all the 100% of blame on the rappers or nothing, because you're right. They came into the world and their neighborhoods were the way it was. What I'm saying is that you need to have some of these big name rappers come in here and try to talk to these younger guys, the ones who made it, the ones who came from the same neighborhoods, the ones who were rapping the exact same stuff that they're rapping, and try to change it. Because whether we want to admit it or not, a lot of our young men are saying this right here. Going to prison once was not a thing that we considered a good thing, but now we got some people that don't give a shit about going to prison. They almost consider it like a badge of honor. And that wasn't, when I was growing up, nobody considered going to prison a badge of honor. Prison was one of the last places in the world you wanted to be going to. And now you got a bunch of young brothers like, I don't give a shit, I go in and I do a bid. And that's something that we as a people need to go ahead and change. So that's not in the rap world or the music world, entertainment world. That's in the black community, period. And what I'm saying is that we need to go ahead and we need to reach out to these brothers, and we need to start going ahead and changing things, both in music and in the community. Because like I said before, I would not be surprised before the end of this year that you have another rapper that gets killed. If we make it to 2023 and another rapper doesn't get killed, I would be shocked. Let's see if we can make it out this year without another rapper getting his head blown off. And like I say, I'm not gonna put any and everything on rap or whatever, because there was crime and there was poverty and there was drugs and there was prostitution and there was everything else before the first rap lyric was ever recorded. But what I am saying is that there's an issue with what's going on in rap, and there's been an issue, and we have to kind of be realistic about that. Yeah. I want to see these brothers get. I like the story where these brothers come up and the brother was doing bad, and the brother ended up getting the music and he ended up saving his life, and now he owns a Fortune 500 company and he's doing it up and employing other black people. That's a great story. But then we also know that there's always going to be two tales of the story and whatnot. So I'm in agreement with you, like to a certain degree. Like, yeah, it's definitely all of it's not rap or whatever. I definitely wouldn't say that. But we have a bunch of rappers that are being targeted because the actual image that people see them, they say, oh, well, you think you hard, nigga, I'm going to test you. Which is nonsense. You still don't have a right to kill somebody because you heard a CD or something like that, and the person was talking about how they live and this and that. Now you want to go in and because you have an imagination, you want to go ahead and take it out on this person like that too. So at this point, I'm open for suggestions on anything we could do, but we need to go ahead and cease the violence, because if kids can see that people that's supposed to be celebrities and stars getting gunned down left and right, then what does that say to the up and coming young black man? So I'll go ahead, Supreme, before I kick it to DJ and Ray, I'll go ahead and let you address that if you want to.
No, yeah, you made a lot of good points, and I don't disagree with what you're saying that it's not a contributing factor. I just saying my point is it's not the main factor. Like there's a bunch of other mitigating circumstances that I would put 1, 2, and 3 before that. But I digress. I'll just leave this here, and I'll just drop down past the mic. Over the past 10, 15 years, the highest grossing and earning rappers, they're not gangster rappers. Pretty much none of them. Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Roddy Ricch, none of them are gangster. Even PnB Rock was not a gangster rapper. So I don't know. The data suggests that pretty much the people that do earn the most money are not gangster rappers, and I'll just leave it there. Thank you.
No doubt. DJ, go ahead. I know you hadn't touched the mic yet.
Apologies, y'all. What's good, everybody? I was looking at that community poll and trying to put up in the jumbotron that we all need to fill out. But, if there's anybody else that want to talk like Black Pressure, and I see Rivera, let the folks talk. I could sit up here and talk your head off all day about this stuff, though. But go ahead, Black Pressure or Ray or Rivera.
Go ahead and let Ray. I think Ray had his hand up for a minute. So Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic, and then we'll go to Black Pressure and Rivera again.
All right, I'm gonna be quick. I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time. I just don't like this narrative that's been going around. I don't know if you guys have seen it on social media about these guys need to just stop lacking. They need to stop lacking, and that's just another ignorant subset that we need to get rid of. Because I don't know if y'all remember Young Dolph, the rapper that got killed in, I believe it was Memphis. This man was getting cookies for his damn mama. PnB Rock. This dude was eating at I keep wanting to say Waffle House at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. Nipsey was at his business, putting money into his community and stuff. Pop Smoke, this dude was in the shower. They talk about lacking. I mean, you literally can't let your guard down under any circumstances. It's like survival at this point. It's not even living. That man right there.
Yeah, I mean, you got a point. Like people, like you say, just minding their own business, getting whacked out because you got some jealous fool. Black Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic, bro.
I'm gonna be real quick. Two news. I'll say this: like a lot of rappers we named earlier, the usual suspects, Tupac, Biggie, NWA, Ice Cube. We can go on and on and on. Young Jeezy, whatever. Like you said, these guys, like I'm a just kind of approach it from a different perspective. These guys, Master P, these guys, 2 and 3 million album sales every time they drop the CD. So I'm gonna say this: who's at fault? Is it the rapper, or is it the 3 million people that buy their album? Like it's been said before, if I approach you and with poison in my hand, and I say, hey man, this poison costs $10, are you gonna buy that poison? You know what I'm saying? We really even I'm including myself. I'm guilty. I probably had every Tupac album ever. I never was the biggest Jay-Z fan, but I did have a couple of his CDs. Back when I was a younger person, had a few No Limit CDs. Master P and his camp had all the Hot Boys CDs. Really, the Hot Boys were rapped about cars and jewelry, but had a few of their CDs. And like you said earlier, nobody here is naive. When we walked in the store, and kind of showing my age, when you still walked in the store and bought CDs, we knew what that subject matter was about. You was talking about your rims. You was talking about your hoes. You was talking about all the keys you chopped up and sold. All the assault rifles you had, all the diamonds, in your watch when you walk in the club. We knew what all that subject matter was about, and we still bought it. So, like I say, we really have to look in the mirror, and I'll land my plane there.
Agree, and I admitted to it myself. Like, I mean, I had them all, and I loved it. I loved listening to it. I ain't gonna lie. Like, as soon as it came out, oh snap! Like you said, Cash Money coming out, Biggie, Life After Death, after Biggie died, and Tupac and Nas and Scarface, and you're right. So it was like, hey, I knew about it. I heard them talking about tying people up and kidnapping people, like Biggie was talking about what pistol whipped the kid and taped up his wife. I mean, stuff like that. And I used to enjoy listening to it. And like my uncles and stuff, like, damn, you listening to this shit here? Like, this is jacked up here. Like, and I'm just thinking, like, well, it's just music. That's how I perceive it, like I said. But then you got those that's gonna listen to it and they're not gonna perceive it the same way. You got fools that's gonna go out there and actually try to do this stuff.
Hey, and one more thing, real quick, news. I apologize. I can't remember the brother's name that spoke a couple of speakers before me. You think about this, and you made a great point, and the other brother did too. You say you take a rapper, I'll say Master P. You take Jay-Z. You take all the members of NWA. These guys grew up in abject poverty. Like Jay-Z, I grew up in Marcy Projects, especially a lot of LA brothers. I know cats personally from LA. Hey, man, I grew up, I had to fight my way to school, and I had to fight coming back. The Crips wanted me to join the 20s and the Red Swan Bloods. And I'm from Texas, so it's kind of, different culture for me. Master P, you grew up in the Third Ward, the Calio Projects, and it was dope from the time I was a child till they grew up. When you get your big break and you become a rapper, what you gonna rap about? And I might sound like I'm defending these guys, but I'm telling the truth. When you grow up in that type of environment and it's literally ingrained in you from childhood, when you become a rapper, you're not gonna talk about what Ivy League school recruited you to come to their school. You're gonna talk about what you saw. I'll land my plane there.
You're right about that. Well, Vera, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay. I want to make a point about the rappers. Once again, the benign neglect about the rappers. We're naming off well-known rappers. If we get down to the King Barnes and all these other rappers, I got cousins that are 15, 16 years old. Listen, I've never heard these motherfuckers before, but these dudes are like well-known gang members in California, and they still, do effectively the bang. And another point I'm going to make is this: if we do a timeline, we know that drugs, gang activity in a certain aspect, and pimping and all that other kind of things, that's been around since I'd like to say the 1910s, 1920s, going on up into the or until now, right? However, we look at something like Chicago. We look at the environment of California right now. We can't sit here and lie and say, oh, well, that's not what's going on. These rappers have no power. When these rappers are 100, 600 deep with other weird gang that they create. If you look at some of these known names, you've never probably heard of them before, especially in like Northern California or Chicago, especially somebody made drill rap. Drill rap is, some of that stuff is specifically talking about making a I didn't even know what the hell that means, smoking a pack of somebody, meaning that you killed this person and you smoked it. Specifically, to the point where, we can talk about this, okay, it's put on wax and it's fake and it's phony and it's meant for entertainment purpose. Bro, these people are going, outside of, Tekashi 6ix9ine, these people are going to these people's neighborhoods, putting themselves online and daring people. Here's my spot. This is where I'm at. For the sake of music. For the sake of cloud. Here's where I'm at. Let's go at it. This is supposed to be just music, remember? They ain't put people's lives in jeopardy. Now, I know the PnB Rock situation. People are saying the young lady that he was with put him in that position. Even with that, it's still like if y'all was listening yesterday when Tariq was on the stage, it was a dude who said he was on Maine and Manchester in Watts, California. I've been to California. The people that I work for that sent us out there said, don't go fucking around in places that you don't need to be in. It's not a game. It's not fantasy world. And I think that the impact that music has something to do with that. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's just the music. But you can't sit here and lie to yourself and see that crime has risen. And the kind of crime that has risen when this music was around, especially in I'd say the 2000s, maybe mid-2000s. Because at one point there was, like a dancey vibe. But think about it. When's the last time you heard a dance rap? When's the last time you heard a Soulja Boy rap type rap? A cha-cha slide type rap? Most of this stuff is about, even when it's fantasy, is about promoting some sort of type of violence or shaking your ass. The stuff that people want to hear, for the most part, in certain clubs, is knock them down, shoot them up, I'm selling dope. That's not good promotion, man. If I were to do a litmus test and go ask people what they would want to listen to, I guarantee you nobody wants to hear. They don't want to hear that quote unquote science shit. It's the same type of music. It's just entertainment. But they don't want to hear that. We are in embedded in violence. We're embedded in negativity. We're embedded in the silliness. To me, it's silly. We love it. We want that. We want to watch Love and Hip Hop. We just love just silliness and for entertainment purpose. I don't think that's entertainment. I think it's dangerous. And a better example, I'm a landing plane here. A better example of that is when I was young and I joined the military. I got that same, even though it was just entertainment. The reason why I joined the Marine Corps and people laugh is because I watched that fucking commercial with a dude. I'm showing my age. The dude climbing the mountain and he pulls a sword out of the fucking out of the thing, and all of a sudden he's wearing dress blues. I thought that was. I'm an 18-year-old. Some people say you don't develop or whatever. I'm still an adult. Fuck all that. But in my mind, I'm gonna get bitches and I'm gonna be a badass. But when you go over the wire, it's a whole nother environment. Your mindset is not the same. You gotta change how you are. Based on fucking weight, the way that you're watching shit and looking at stuff that you thinking is cool, it's not until you get put on the spot that you get, okay, now's the time. I gotta change my environment. I gotta change the way I'm thinking. I gotta basically adapt to and overcome. Adapt to my environment. And I know that some people live in these environments, but like I said, from the 1920s on up to that point, we can sit here and talk about the economy being bad and all these other things, and COINTELPRO put drugs in the community. But even then, we sat there, and even in the 80s, we promoted that shit. The late 80s and 90s, we promoted the drug use. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Through the music, we promoted it. You weren't gonna hear no Marvin Gaye record talk about let's go do some heroin, and that was a big thing in the 70s. I'm just saying. That's it. The white people was, by the way, the white people was doing the heroin, the acid, and all that other shit. The hippies, they promoted that shit. That's why it was spread crazy when they were doing the fucking Woodstock and all that. So we can't. This benign neglect shit. We gotta stop that, man. We gotta use common sense, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm ranting. My bad. Y'all get mad or y'all laughing. I'm just saying use common sense.
No doubt, no doubt. Aunt Lai, I want to let you know that your book did come. I did get the book today, Aunt Lai. So just to let you know, I have received your book. And y'all make sure y'all we'll put Aunt Lai's book up in the Jumbotron. Y'all make sure y'all support that sister. Also support Newstoter on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. The company, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and speak, but we talking about, I know sometimes you drift a little bit off the subject, so we talking about PnB Rock, and we talking about just the amount of rappers who have been killed in the past 30 some odd years. So let's try to stay on topic as much as possible. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you for the introduction. I just want to say that Newstoter, please support him, his new station. He's always talking about the things that, really matter, in our daily lives, the things that we see. So support these brothers and stuff like that. We need more people like them. I just want to say, from my perspective, I was born in 1984, and, I've seen all of our greatest people one by one, get killed, murdered, assassinated, whatever it is you want to call it. But to me, it seems like it's a trend that every time when we have someone great that comes out, they have to take them down because, they want to be better than those people. So it's a trend. If our people get in there and make good music off of whatever it is and trying to start a new trend, they're going to knock it down, and the next person is going to imitate that. Like, you could go through all the greatest. They were all murdered. By who? By who? We know who, and we know why. But, people, they're so, wrapped up in, I understand that poverty is a big thing and stuff like that. They taught us that, it's either football, basketball, or being a rapper. They don't, really promote us being doctors or anything. They promote us to be drug dealers, and we know that tethers, they played a big role in that. I just want people to be aware that, we need to control our own music industry. And, if we do have popular artists out there, they need to be protected properly. We have to know our own, and we have to protect our own. There's no reason someone with that much clout, would be in a restaurant without somebody standing next to the door. Like, at least one or two people. Like, to me, that's ridiculous. Even when I go places, I make sure that I have people around me that, they're watching this angle, that angle, make sure nobody just don't run up or anything else like that. Like, we got to be smarter about this. But, it's a sad situation, and Roscoe Chicken and Waffles is known to have many problems. I think a lot of rappers, they have a habit of, like, getting jumped, beat up, chains robbed and stuff at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Like, solve that problem. I would just get rid of that restaurant, burn it to the ground for all I care, because it has too many problems in history. Just ugliness. But that's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem, brother. Now, the people that actually own the business and employ people, they may have an issue with, removing the actual business or whatever. But I have heard different things about Roscoe. I heard it had pretty good food, but also, a lot of them, I guess, are in the hood and whatnot. So that's another discussion for another time about getting rid of Roscoe's. But let's just be clear here that, Roscoe's itself, even if you have a bunch of crime and crazy stuff that goes around it, I'm sure the actual business itself isn't actually doing the crimes. It's the people that, that frequent the establishment, or the people that live in that area. And let's make this perfectly clear. Most of the people that live in the hood, we need to understand that most people that live in the hood and the ghetto are not criminals. You have a select few people that are criminals. Most of the people that live there are law-abiding citizens, are just trying to survive and live just like any and everybody else. But you have a segment of that population that lives in those areas that just cause hell, and we know this. But the vast majority of the people, I'd say 90% of them at least, are not criminals. They go to work, they raise their kids and their family, they mind their own business, they try to do what's right. But then you have a segment of people, a small segment, just like that we have in society at large. That most people in this country aren't criminals, but we have a small segment that are. And that no matter what neighborhood or ethnic group they belong to, everybody has that. So, DJ, you got to go ahead and unmute your mic.
Nah, again, family, we agree to agree. So everybody's saying the right thing. So, the only other thing we hardly ever get a chance to talk about because we too worried about the actual problem at hand. What are the solutions? What are we going to do about our black men that do want to enter the record industry and be about the music biz, the music industry? There are different forms of, being in this industry. You don't have to be the actual artist or entertainer or musician. You could be the lighting technician at the theater, making 50 to 100,000 and be in a union. You could be, a roadie manager, getting 15% off of all sales, record sales, merchandise sales. You ain't got to be banging in the streets. The whole purpose of this rap stuff was to put each other on and put each other into position. But somewhere along the line, the tethers, they infiltrated and we allowed them because, hey, yeah, we ain't got no problem with nobody. Come on over here. This is why Fat Joker say nigga and, all these other jokers saying that they invented 50% of hip hop. So it's really all up to us at the end of the day. I know, there might be some particular issues some folks might have with certain artists. For those that know, if you know about Industry Hoax, go look it up on YouTube. Industry Hoax on YouTube. For those that know, you know what I mean?
That guy has a crazy channel there, man. I seen some of that shit.
Bro, at the end of the day, I ain't saying, feed into it or be indoctrinated by it. I'm just saying that shit really do be going on. This is why I feel like, when a lot of folks talk about the backdoor issues of the music business, hell yeah. Because, the one thing that I never learned in school was how to make money off of this shit. They don't teach you that. Black folks don't read contracts and be about the business side. This is why it's taken me 20 years, from when I decided to get serious about this shit to be where I'm at now with it. Where I got my own place, I got my own studio, which I'm currently sitting in right now. You feel what I'm saying? And just chilling and living my life off of music, physically selling music. Whether it be, you could call me a bootlegger, or you can just call me a DJ or artist. At the end of the day, that's what I do at the end of the day. I sell music on physical tape to this day. I sell CDs for $1 and I got the movies for $1. So hit my jack because I got fired. But at the end of the day, until we decide to collectively say as a group of people, hey, look, we ain't listening to no drill music. Hip hop is not really the problem. It's the artist. You feel what I'm saying? That's saying XYZ said thing. Remember, hip hop never put a gun in nobody's head and said, give me that chain. If not, boom. You feel what I'm saying? When you look at the real hip hop again, it's elements, knowledge surrounding the shit. You got to be all phases of the shit. So when you say hip hop or whatever, black music, now those are just rappers. Like Ray say, those are niggas over there. Those the niggas over there. Because somebody brought up Biggie before. Well, Biggie said, I used to read Word Up magazine. That was the first shit he said. You know what I mean? But like you said, I think it was you, Rivera. Joker's just ripping the pictures out and just passing it on the wall. But those are the niggas that couldn't read. We forget about that too. You know what I'm saying? Because you put a book in front of them, they ain't gonna watch it, but they'll sit there and watch cartoons all day. They ain't gonna go outside and be about nature, but they'll be in the house, causing ruckus and shit, getting on mama's nerves and shit. You know what I mean? So those are things that you got to think about too. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall every Saturday. Rap Attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. Molly Mall, that's that dude. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Magic, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Mr. Magic. Yep. You know what I'm saying? He the fire, man. He the one. He the original mixtape king of all this shit, in my opinion. Black dude, you know what I mean? But really, the real issue is why aren't we controlling what I call the family business, meaning this entertainment shit? If we up here really saying that we created all this shit, I don't see how we can even say that. We don't own anything, yo. We don't own no record labels that's Motown oriented, putting our peoples in position so they don't gotta sign with the WPIs, the white public institutions. See that? And when we do get our own black folks that own their own businesses, studios, whatever, we get scrutinized. You know what I mean? And most artists, I don't really got a lot of songs with artists. I got like mainly instrumental CDs that I put out most of my life and sold and lived my life like that, made money off it like that. So artists, they just like want to go, and I'm specifically talking to like our Black American people. When you deal with these artists as an audio engineer, our folks, they just want to go where what's hot. They don't want to sit in the studio like the OJs did, the Temptations did, Aretha Franklin did all them years in church. You feel what I'm saying? They going to the studio, understanding the craft and practicing your craft. You feel what I'm saying? To be great. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, like Biggie said, you know, I just sold 2 million records. I can't rap about being broke no more. That's why Life After Death will be probably top 3. It's top 3 all the time hip hop album, yo. You know what I'm saying? Real shit, gotta be. You know what I'm saying? That and obviously Pac, all eyes on me and shit. Ain't nothing greater than them CDs, yo. Real shit, you know what I'm saying? And I know that's far-fetched. Because there's a lot of hip-hop. Eminem will never be on the list. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my outsider homies, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, until we decide to collectively come together and say, hey, look, you know something? I'm about to go buy all your shit off of fucking YouTube. Whatever. Or iTunes. Or, hey, look, what's the Cash App? Artists, instead of y'all listening and subscribing to iTunes and all this other stuff, YouTube, dump that shit. Go on Bandcamp, a website, Bandcamp, where it's artist friendly and consumer friendly. You could just pay the artist what you want to pay them straight up. Bandcamp don't keep too much money out of the payment system, I guess. But, you know, if these artists got their own personal website, go support them. Other thing is, too, you know, we complain about the music that's out, but I bet y'all any amount of money or whatever it is you want to put on the table that y'all can't even name 10 hot artists in your hood right now. You feel what I'm saying? That's really got talent, yo, and skill, and like not talking about the bang bang shoot 'em up shit. You know what I mean? So until y'all start supporting this shit, it's always gonna be here, and we always gonna be here talking the same thing. But go ahead, Rebecca.
So I was gonna do 2 things. First, I want to answer Newstoter's original question. I forgot you asked me the question. What can we do to kind of change the shift or make a shift in this music? And I said this in another, it might have been Clubhouse months ago. I think we talked about this. Some other rapper had died. 59. This is the 59th rapper since the 1980s. It's crazy. So one of the things that I said was going back to like, and I'll make a point with this, going back to like when we had like Gap bands and Earth, Wind, and Fires and stuff like that. Not necessarily have to have a bunch of singing and all that other shit, but I'm gonna make a point with this. When we had live instrumentation, we had someone who played the bass, someone who could kick the drums, someone who could, and it doesn't even now have to be live drums, but I like the way the live drums sound. Anyways, but have this live instrumentation in a band. And I'm gonna give you an example of this. When is the last time, and maybe somebody can prove me wrong, but I guarantee it's not a lot. When was the last time you heard like a Kendrick Lamar record or J. Cole kind of record, right? And even now, that if that was to come out, I'd say 10 years ago, people would be like, man, what is this, you know, quote unquote science? I think we got a touch with them because they do come from parts of the hood and they can kind of relate to the hood. And one of the things that I noticed that when Kendrick kind of like slowly but surely went from the synthesized kind of records, and one of the things that I like about Tariq is he talks about the vibrations in music. And even I think it was Dr. Crest Wilson said something about this too, the vibration in music or something like that. It might have been Nearly Fuller, Crest Wilson, I don't know. But the psychology behind it, that those vibrations, they do something different. When you got something that ain't real, that's supposed to be emulating a horn, emulating a bass, and there's nothing really to it. It's just a bunch of dun, 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 bunch of syncopation, just everything is pattern made. It's almost like brainwashing. And I'll admit, when I was in my 20s and all that shit came out, it was hard for me to listen to it. But I found myself when I was listening to it or going to the club, it was like, okay, I kind of like, especially when the 808 hits you. I kind of like this. Make you want to dance with a female. Make you want to move a little different. I think that shit is brainwashing. I think that shit has control over us some way that, and I was going to make this point too, that the specific people understand that, that can put $5.6 million in a rapper's face. The Hayim, I'm not going to say anything, I don't want to get the room shut down. Those people, when they tell an artist, you have to make the specific shaking your ass, selling drugs, killing people type of music, or we're going to cut the line. You're not going to get that 5.6 million. Or you won't get a record deal the next time, when your sophomore album comes out. Fuck if your first album comes out, it's, $1 billion record. We'll cut the line on you. If you put out something that we don't like, we'll cut the line on you. Doesn't matter if it makes $1 billion. And I think those were the risks, and going back to what I was saying about Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, the risks that they had to take. Now, as far as the live music, I see that when Kendrick and them go to the live kind of sound, the vibe is different. The energy is different. Y'all probably can agree with me, maybe not. You can feel it in your soul. I can't really listen to an NBA young boy record, and maybe it's because I'm an old ass nigga and I used to listen to Four Tops, Temptations, all that kind of stuff. A lot of One Way, 80s kind of stuff, even though that was kind of synthesized. I could feel that in my soul versus listening to something that sounds like the same thing every year over and over and over and over again. So I think, to answer Newstoter's question, I think that having some sort of live instrumentation, teaching our youth, one of the things that I'm doing now is I've picked up a guitar and I'm trying to like learn how to play the guitar. So eventually I can probably open the studio and open up the doors, or even go to like a boys or a girls club and, like, hey man, y'all win a laptop, make beats, but y'all have to be able to play instruments. You have to learn how to play these instruments. Maybe y'all create a band and y'all go do a talent show, or just go downtown. Nobody can kick you unless they gonna kick you off the street. Continue coming downtown and playing your sound until you get invited to go play at the show. I think that's important. I think we need to bring that back. The second thing, to answer Ray Smith's, what he was talking about, going back to the whole L'Chaim thing, those people control the record industry. And the reason why we have no control is we got all these dudes like the Bad Boys and all that, and we always pinpoint out, why is Bad Boy, why is Puff Daddy not, why is Diddy not, why is this person not, 50 Cent, et cetera, et cetera. Why are they not focused on putting money in the community and doing this and that? And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why they're not doing it is because they fucked over so many people. Even if they wanted to, no one's going to even take that offer off the table, because everything that they've done, think about it, in the past like 15, 16 years, even 20 years, has been like under scrutiny in the black community. We've seen what happened with the Lloyd Banks thing, when G Unit had their thing. We ain't got any 50 Cent. Puff Daddy's a great example. Look at every artist that Puff Daddy has ever had. Ever. Where the fuck are they? All of them. All of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them artists that he's had, he's fucked over. All of them. All times. Totally. Big. I go on. Mace. Mace went to go to church. Murder Mace. I remember if the brother from New York, come on, man, I'm going to get down with you. Children of the Corn with Big L, Mace. What was the other brother's name?
Cameron?
Yeah, Cam, Killer Cam. Come on, man. All right?
But that was Dipset?
No, that was not Dipset.
Nah.
Children of the Corn.
Look up Children of the Corn Group company with Cam Rock, Mace, and Big L. Rest in peace, Big L. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace, Big L. Murder Man. And I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I know about that. And I was listening to that. I was listening to tapes of that stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is we've kind of gotten away from having that, being able to go. And I know what you're saying about paying attention to your local artists. And we got one here. It's a guy named Gang Tide Jr. and he's been offered some record deals, and he's with a record label. It's 1921. Nothing's positive came out of that record label, even though 1921 is associated with, as you guys know, Black Wall Street. Nothing positive came in. And I've spoke with the dude, Dom, and they've gotten a little bit of recognition, but they don't want to do anything positive either. And it's hard for me to respectfully, he's asked me to do some music and some instrumentation, but I don't want to be involved with a company that y'all aren't promoting anything positive. Fine, you got to do, he's working with Kevin Gates, Gang Todd Jr., but nothing that this kid is doing is positive. He came out with one song talking about 1921, but the entire song is about robbing niggas, and that's the only way you can get by. You put all this stuff about 1921 in the beginning of the video. You put the bombing pictures. You put all this other stuff in the beginning of the video. I come from a city that's been turmoil, and that's what you're talking about? Shooting niggas and robbing niggas, bro? I can't get down with that. I cannot support some. I know I'm old. I know I don't get like I said, I got cousins that are young, and I don't get the new times. That's fine. But we got to get these kids, man. I always say this, and I'm going to land here. I keep saying I'm going to land because I get passionate about music. I think that these kids, when I say the brainwashing thing, I think that that's a real thing. And I had a point I was going to make, I just lost it. It's going back to the Woodstock thing, where these people are making this kind of, the 80s. And I'm done after this. Y'all remember in the 80s and 90s? You notice they ain't doing that shit no more. The rock music, the metal music, fuck Woodstock. Remember they had the music, the shit metal, you turn it backwards, motherfuckers was blowing their brains out. These are random kids blowing their brains out, killing their parents, because the music was telling them that Satan, when you play it the other way, whatever reason, weird, right? Play it the other way, in deep tone it says, kill your parents. Go downtown and go kill everybody. Shit. Easy shit. And they were going and doing it. Ain't heard a rock record since doing that shit. Nirvana killing himself, all them motherfuckers went and committed suicide because Kurt Cobain blew his brains out, so everybody's got to blow their brains out. Ain't heard a sad-ass record since from these motherfuckers. Matter of fact, hip-hop is completely taken over, even in the white community. That genre, that alternative rock shit, dead. Dead. When's the last time you heard a fucking alternative rock song that's getting 1 million fucking views on YouTube, billions of views? Dead, bro. Done for. So when we sit here and we talk about music doesn't have any control over us, I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling it right now. And I just proved the point. I got my little test. Maybe I'm fucking crazy. I hope not. I hope I am. I'm just saying. That's it. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
No problem, brother. I want to say this part right here, that as much, I think something needs to be done. What needs to be done? I can only give a few points. For one, I think if I'm a rapper out there today, you need to have top-notch security. You need to have professional security, and I know every rapper can't afford that. But that's something that maybe with the record label they need to go ahead. And I know that'll take dollars away from you, but you need to have some professional security. You almost to the point now that you almost have to have bulletproof cars, and you almost want to walk around with a bulletproof vest. That's how bad it is right now. Also, in terms of changing what's played on TV and played on the radio, that ship is sailed. There's nothing because you can see right now. You look at the commercials on TV, and it's just not rap. You look at the commercials with what you got, men up here kissing and stuff like that. That those days are gone. Like maybe in the 80s and the 90s, we could have went ahead and when they tried to go ahead and tried to stop some of this stuff that was coming on the ads and say this may be damaging to kids and this and that. Everybody fought against it and this and that. And that's not every black person I'm saying, but a lot of the artists and stuff saying that you're infringing on our rights and our way of making money and this and that. So I'm not exactly sure that the radio stations and television, because they see the kind of money that they can make, that they're willing to change. They've been making fist over dollar for so many years now that there's really nothing that they're going to do to change. Like you yourself, Rivera, you mentioned the love and hip-hop and that kind of stuff like that. That stuff ain't going nowhere no time soon. And I ain't going to lie. I used to watch the love and hip-hop, and I used to watch all of the stuff and this and that. Just like we talking about all the rap music and stuff we used to listen to growing up. I used to listen to all that stuff. And I used to watch Love and Help a few years ago. And, I'll turn the TV on occasion, I'll see something like that. I'm like, oh, they wild, and then just turn it or whatever. But I think with the amount of money that TV makes, the fact that now that any and everything that people feel like that comes on should be shown to the masses and this and that, because we have issues right now with kids and stuff. They want to show kids any and every kind of thing that's on television. So I'm not sure that hip hop, rap music, whatever you want to call it, that they're gonna be able to censor it or whatever. Look at the award shows. Imagine this BET award show that's coming up in October. The BET Hip Hop Awards with Fat Joe hosting. What another crazy thing? They got Fat Joe hosting, but okay, they're gonna shove Fat Joe down black people throats, fine. But watch the kind of outfits that you're gonna see at these award shows. Watch the kind of, like 25 years ago, 20 years ago, the stuff that you see on these stages and stuff like that, the outfits that the girls are wearing, the women wearing nowadays. And back in the day, when we had Lil' Kim and stuff like that, and I mean, that was considered like, whoa, like they really wearing it. Kim got a pasty on her breast and whatnot, and now you got chicks up here with basically dental floss. Every scene is gonna be twerking. So it was a time that you used to could watch the award show, and like I was saying, you could even listen to music with the entire family. But those days are gone. Like you can't sit here. There's very few family shows that you can sit down and watch with your kids and whatnot. There's very few things that's family oriented. It's not that way. And society tells us, well, kids shouldn't see, this is for adults and this and that or whatever. But at one time, like the whole family could sit down and enjoy stuff and listen to things and this and that. That's gone. So in terms of actual depending on these white-owned media corporations and businesses and stuff to actually, try to stop a problem that's happening in the black community, that's not going to happen. The only thing that could stop is, like I said, you have to have a meeting of the minds. You have to get these actual record labels, start holding them accountable. The record labels, the actual rappers, and you got to get and I know we don't have any politicians, but that's what you need. You got to have some kind of politicians, and you got to have you got to have people like in here, like, hey man, we can't. This is becoming a public crisis here. While y'all shooting and killing people out here on the street like that, you're making the entire community unsafe. So at this point, like DJ saying, what are the solutions and stuff like that? And to me, it's not even about ownership of the music. Like, yeah, we want to own the music. We want to control the music. But let's be for real, we have never really controlled or owned any music. Even when you had Motown, which was the hugest black record label of all time, okay, fine. Motown, you had one Motown, and you might have had a record label here and there, but it was mainly Motown. And even Motown was getting distributed by a white company. Even Motown had to go to white radio stations and stuff to get airplay. Yeah, you had black radio stations, but they had to also go to white radio stations and everything else. Even Motown, to a certain degree, Berry Gordy did his best to have R&B, but it was more of a pop type R&B, My Girl, and Just My Imagination, and those type of songs that he even tried to steer away from the political type music and stuff of that day or whatever, as much as he could. You had Marvin Gaye and them pushing them. So to me, ownership is one thing, because like I said, but even when we didn't have ownership of our music, we didn't have our stars getting shot down in the street left and right. Like you wasn't going to have from 1965 to 1995 almost 60 R&B artists killed. And to me, that's the real issue. Like, yeah, we want to own it, we want to control it, and this and that. And like you said, DJ, it's really too late for that, even because we allow everybody to come into the actual house, and we allow ownership. And not only that, but white folks, when they started putting these music companies together and whatnot, they're taking your art form and they're marketing and they're selling it back to you. So in terms of just the business aspect aside alone, how can we keep our people safe from being targeted and being killed all the time? Like, to me, that's the real issue. Yeah, I want to have ownership. Yeah, I want us to control an actual culture that we created and manifested. But how can we keep young black men from catching a bullet and being put in the grave? What can be done about that? How can the black community come together and form something and do something that can stop this type of senseless murder that happens if it doesn't happen every month, it's every other month, it seems like. You have people getting killed like every other month, man. Like, how can we as black people stop this type of stuff? We haven't stopped this at all. This year we've had how many people killed? You know, we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've had 6 people killed in the year 2022. And we still got 3 months left. We still got 3 months left before this year is out. So how can we as black people find a solution, find something that's going to allow safety and like I said, and think about it. If these are people that's entertainers and they got money and stuff and they getting gunned down left and right, then you know what the average black man on the street, what he's facing. So how can we as people, money aside and all this and that, because the record labels don't give a shit. The MTVs, the BETs of the world don't give a shit. The only people who care are the people like me and you, and the actual people being killed, their families. So how can we stop this tragedy that's been happening for the past 30 some odd years? Before we know it, I mean, is this gonna be something 50 years straight? In another 10, 15 years, how many rappers are gonna be killed by then? Because it's not ceasing, it's not stopping. Like you say, Rivera's right to a certain degree. You do have some of these rappers that's challenging. Why would you want to get on Instagram and start giving your location if you're beefing with somebody? And I know if you're beefing with somebody, why would you go ahead and intentionally, yeah, I'm hanging out over here. Why don't you come up here and see me? I mean, come on, bro. It's too much. It's just too many examples of people getting their head blown off for you to be sitting up doing that. An individual does that, there's really nothing we can do about that. If you got beef with some gang or whatever, and you sitting up there and you letting the people know where you at, there's really nothing as a community we can do to stop that. And I know we can't stop every single solitary murder, but at the same time, some of this has to be preventable. Some of this has to be for a way for us to actually stop it. And we're not to that point right now. We're not stopping anything. We're not quelling anything. It's an inferno, and it's just picking up, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like one of those California brush fires that start off an acre, and next thing you know, there's 50 acres burning, and before you know it, there's a couple hundred acres burning. Well, at this point, how many more acres of black people are going to burn? Black men in particular. So we need to find a solution to that. Black Pressure, I know you had your hand up. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
No, News, I was just going to say, real life, just agreeing with everything you say. I'm going to say this and I'm going to drop down. You're making awesome points like you always do. I say that I don't want to use the word impossible. I'm pretty much leaning towards using impossible, but I think one of the solutions is self-correction. Coming, internally inside our own community, but I'm gonna say something that's gonna stir up the hornet's nest, but I'm gonna keep it real. You were made a great point a few seconds ago talking about when you see the black women and how the Western media parades them in public, and they they make them like, I guess, objects of sexual desire. Well, I'm speaking from personal experience, but I've witnessed it countless times where the black women, even black men in the community, when they witness that type of behavior and they confront it, black women read you the feminist riot act narrative. And you can't tell me nothing, and you judging me, and you can't tell her what she can and can't wear. And like I say, you made a great point. I say, if internal correction, if you done that, then hell, you sure can't depend on a white man. So I just say that to say, man, you make a great point. You really do. I would think about having a room about that, not trying to tell you what to do, but that was an awesome point.
At this point, man, like I say, I think we all should be open to suggestions. This is a big time issue, and it's not getting much media play. The media will go ahead and they'll spotlight a death of a rapper. They'll briefly brush over it, talk over it. They may mention this was a third or fourth rapper killed this year or this and that. But like I said, until you start seeing actual town halls and stuff like that, that's something that black people need to get, and we need to start having town halls on actual we need to start having some town halls on actual TV with actual supposedly black influencers, black celebrities, black politicians, black people that's in the know or whatever. Until we start doing that, I just don't really see this issue resolving itself. And to me, it's getting worse and worse, and I don't know exactly what to do. If we all have me, I have sons. So, this is something that you have to worry about because, like I say, you're having celebrities getting their head blown off. So you have to worry about your own kids and stuff like that, too, out here in the real world. You have to worry about their safety. So if somebody has got $3-4 million sitting around here and they're not safe, then what about you as a person? How much longer is this going to go on? I mean, this is like a call for help or whatever, and it's just nobody. It's falling on a deaf ear. Nobody. We keep hearing this dumb stuff talking about Oscars so white and this person can't host this and diversity in Hollywood and all this dumb stuff here. But when people actually get killed and murdered, it's just nothing happening. So, I don't know. Like I say, I'm kind of at a loss for words. I felt like this space needed to happen tonight because we've had this so many times. It happens constantly, and nothing seems to be resolved from it. Nobody seems to care, and that's to me as Black people, we have so many different issues going on in the world, and we're fighting so many different battles. Yet, like I say, right before our eyes, we're seeing even on Instagram and Facebook, we're seeing people actually get murdered and killed. These rappers and stuff like that, and nothing whatsoever has changed or happened since then. And like I said, I'd be totally shocked by the end of this year if somebody doesn't get killed. I'd be totally shocked if somebody else doesn't get killed before this year is out. I'm telling you, it's because if you look at the trend the past 10 years or so, it doesn't. I mean, just every year you have multiple rappers being gunned down. The company. I'm gonna go ahead and let you unmute your mic.
What's it called? Dollar Bill had his hand up before me.
Yeah, he's a host though. So you can go ahead and speak, and then he'll go ahead and get it. So go ahead and say what you got to say, brother.
Okay. Sorry, there's a plane flying over me right now because they're trying to put out these wildfires out here in California. They sent like 4 jumbo jets trying to put out this fire in the last probably 15 minutes. So okay, it went away. Anyways, I went to a songwriting and recording type of school. Is School of Performing Arts out here in Sacramento. I grew up with a piano in our house and a record player, plenty of records. My uncle, he was all into acting and stuff like that. He was became part of that Screen Actors Guild or SAG or whatever it is that they call it and stuff like that. He tried to open up his own company that, a media company that filmed movies and all the other stuff. I got introduced to people like, Black Market Records and stuff here in Sacramento. They put out Sibo, Brother Lynch. I had the opportunity to meet those fellas and stuff like that, and a whole lot of people that was involved with them back in the early 2000s. Actually, they made a movie, and they shot part of the movie at my mom's house when we were kids. So, they brought film crew and all the other stuff. We met all these, rappers during the time in the early 2000s. And then, I got into songwriting, recording. I took improv. And then I got into marketing and advertising. And I started my own company working with clients like Black Market Records, because, I was familiar with them before. And so, I offered my marketing and advertising skills, but I understand music and I understand how it's supposed to be written and how to market and advertise that. But the one thing that I learned was that a lot of people that make music, they don't put a lot of context behind it. It lacks culture. Like, if you're gonna be an artist, and this is what I used to do with Black Market, is like to make their rappers more marketable and stuff like that. I even worked with rapper named Pharaoh Da Vinci, which people later on knew as Stevante Clark. His brother was shot and killed by police officers in his grandmother's backyard. But before all that happened, I did marketing, advertising for him, and many other artists and stuff like that. Sorry, they're sending another plane over me and stuff like that. Man, that wildfire out there, and I think El Dorado Hills is on fire. That's an all-white neighborhood. Yeah, I live by McClellan Air Force Base, so they send all these jumbo jets over there to drop retardants and stuff like that on those places. But it seems like that wildfire is heading towards Lincoln and stuff. That's a big ass wildfire. Anyways, yeah, you have to have a culture behind yourself as an artist. You have to have something that people are willing to get behind and support. If you lack that culture and stuff, it's not going to survive. You have to have something like even Nike, all these major advertisers and stuff like that. They have a culture that people want to get behind, and they'll support those people regardless because of the culture that they represent. And those people say, I will support this business and everything. It has nothing to do with the products. It has to do with what is it that you're putting out there? What are you marketing? What are you advertising? You got to add context to it. Don't make it over complicated where people can't understand. Try to be clear, concise, short with messages to where it hits them. It's easy to remember. Something, try to make it rhymey so that it gets stuck in their head. Like, there's a lot of elements that you have to add into it. And none of these rappers don't, and this is the major part, they don't market no products. They're just talking nonsense. Not selling anything, not selling clothing brands, at least alcohol or something, a liquor, a wine or something. Nope. They'll advertise guns, drugs, murdering each other, all the other stuff. Like, what's the point of that? But you have the whole part of music is you're trying to convey a message from one person to another and many people. And it lacks all that. But, I stopped doing marketing and advertising when Black Market Records, they went to Africa. They're in Africa now. In Oak Park, before they left, I did marketing and advertising for Mozzie's yellow mixtape and everything. We was able to get it into tower stores and record stores and everything. Trying to get people on the radio and being able to talk and communicate. Like, communication is a big part of it too. But I'll just land with that, and I land my plane. But a big part of music, there's a lot of it that's missing a lot of elements for it to survive.
Right, appreciate you, brother. Definitely appreciate you. Gonna go get ready to close it out. So Ray, DJ, y'all have something? Ray, you want to say something before we go ahead and get ready to close it out for the night?
I'm good.
About you, DJ?
Just give people a couple more minutes. So, getting the Jumbotron, there's a lot of information up there. So, again, what about the solutions? I know a lot of us probably don't even know anything about the music business or the industry itself. Play an instrument, or if you don't play an instrument, pick up one, like I think Brother Rivera said. So, with that being said, so, okay, A lot of us are blaming certain things maybe on the music and maybe certain things that go on in the streets. You know, what we got to understand is that, you know, we come from nothing. So, you know, the streets eventually merged with the rap game or the hip hop community. Once that clashed, you know, then you had, again, the Tethers, the Jerry Hellers of the world, you know, aka the J people, for those that know, just come in and infiltrate again. You know what I'm saying? When we had an opportunity, again, if you go watch KRS-One, the Temple of Hip Hop, go subscribe to it right now. You can do it right here on Twitter, or you can go over to the YouTube, which is preferred because that's where the weekly videos are at. Temple of Hip Hop, KRS-One. We talk about all this stuff. They was talking about it 25 years ago in a physical room. Bambaataa, KRS, Just Ice. They was all in the same room. You know what I mean? Just like we're here in a virtual room, but they was in the same room together, speaking about the same thing and how can we use hip hop to save our community, to, you know, get free school lunch for the kids, you know, help buy some real estate, you know what I mean? You know, get some insurance businesses going. That's what they were talking about, bro. But, you know, egos get in the way, money get in the way, other people get in the way, you know, it's just what it is. So, with that being said, since we know all that now, so I guess the argument is for y'all is to be challenged to start your own record label. That's all it really is. If you really care about the music that our ancestors created and our elders have created throughout the last 100 years, you know, physical media has been on the planet for over 100 years. The phonograph was invented in in the early 1800s. You know what I mean? Oh, excuse me, the late 1800s. Excuse me. So that's well over 100 years. So when other, you know, demographics of people like Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes say Americans ain't got no talent, and, you know, 50% of a demographic of people, Latinos, that could be Peruvian, Salvadorian, Colombian, you know, Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, Mexican, or whatever, right? So you got to show me the Mexican hip hop of the 1940s. You know what I mean? You got to show me the, you know, the Dominican, you know what I mean, R&B of the 60s. You know what I mean? What was that like? You know, was they like Motown? You know what I mean? I highly doubt that. You know, show me the fashion and the swag and how you put shit together, you know, and make it cool and hip. From my understanding, that's all our stuff. So I'll call that the family business. So if you get in the Jumbotron, it's right there in the middle somewhere. It says, learn the family business, Kite Productions, peace and so to the black media. So at the end of the day, for y'all to really get an understanding of how this money is really broken down and how much money is really involved, see, these streaming services, they the old guard, aka Cadillac Records. So they're not paying these artists what y'all think they getting paid because you see them flashing some jewels inside of a rented Phantom. That's rented, fam. You know what I'm saying? Niggas can't afford that shit. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. You know what I mean? You're going to have to be selling a hell of a lot of records, yo. Hell of a lot of streaming. And the streaming is messed up. That's pennies on the dollar. But obviously, if you get hundreds of millions of views, then it's a different story. You can say, okay, I'm making a living off of it. But if 40,000 songs come out a month, and you know your man's is one of those people that's dropping part of that 40,000 songs a month, this shit ain't cutting through because he ain't part of the algorithm, yo. He ain't got the Terminator backing him. That's the record labels. So this is why you see these, what is it, the Jack Harlows and what's the other dude from over there saying he's the king of pop? Jack Harlow, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, whatever, right? And what was the other dude that's the so-called hottest rapper right now, the white dude? Nah, definitely not his ass. He was never raw. You know what I mean? Damn. Anyway, make a long story short, you know.
And DJ. I think a dude name was Harry Styles.
Oh yeah, Harry Styles said he was the king of pop, and Jack Harlow was supposed to be the new hip hop, king of hip hop or whatever. You know what I mean? The new it boy and shit. So you already know that's the tether griff right there. So, but what is we doing to protect this shit, right? You feel what I'm saying? We ain't doing nothing, yo. You know what I'm saying? And there's a whole lot of other slew of shit that we ain't even speak on that surround this stuff right now, yo. A whole slew. This is part one of this. Feel me? Tyler, this is part one, bro. But I yield there, man. Reparations out.
Definitely. I want to thank everybody for coming to the space tonight. I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to see exactly how we can go about, you know, trying to find a resolution for this. This is serious. I want everybody to keep their eyes glued to the news in the next couple months. God forbid, and I'm not saying this because I want this to happen, but I want everybody just to pay close attention. Remember this space tonight. Remember, this is 9/13/2022. Let's remember this space tonight. Let's hope that our brothers can get out this year without somebody else getting killed over some BS. That's a hope of mine. I don't want to see any more black men get killed in hip hop this year. We already getting killed enough. We don't need this anymore. And like DJ said, this could be the first space. We may have a whole another one on this, you know.
Hey, can I say something real quick? My bad, brother. I was gonna say on the next space we do, hey Ray, we need to talk about how these guns are ending up in the hood when cats don't even got bread to go buy guns unless you robbing somebody for their gun or you rob somebody to get money to get a gun. But go ahead, Todd. Where these guns come from? You know what I'm saying?
You already know that's right on my alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so with that being said, why we ain't pointing the finger at Smith and Wesson and Remington too?
Well, I mean, we live in a country that's the biggest gun manufacturer in the world. So, I mean, there's more guns in this country than there is actual people. So, you know, like you said, that's a topic, that's a space, a whole nother space right there that we can actually have and build on that one too. Because when you have more guns than actual people, not only that, you're the biggest gun dealer in the world. So the U.S. is the biggest gun dealer in the world. Everybody buys arms from the U.S. So even these countries with these dictators and these countries that supposedly the U.S. is at war with and having beef with, they buy the arms from them and whatnot. So,
Todd, I got to defend that real quick because y'all know I'm all about my Second Amendment. So, yes, we do. We have the most guns in the world. Yes, we absolutely do. But you cannot blame the gun because the gun does not do it by themselves. It's the person behind it. We don't blame spoons for making us fat. Why are we going to blame a gun? Because it's not going to get up and go out and do a mass shooting unless it's the person behind it is wanting to do some evil.
No, I'm not blaming. I'm saying that the guns that when you have a certain amount of guns, because you also got to look at people's mindset too. Like most people are responsible with guns, but just a sheer number. When you have a country that's got 330 some odd million people in it, the guns. Guns. If they fall into the wrong hands, you got trouble. Just like we have nuclear weapons in this world. You get a nuclear weapon in the hands of the wrong person, you're gonna have a problem. And we got some of these countries, God forbid they ever get their hands on nuclear weapons. We talk about North Korea and whatnot, and you have to look out for some of this stuff like that too. So, I mean, you're right. Guns don't just go off and shoot people on their own, but guns were made for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to kill. So, like I said, you get it in the hands of the wrong individual, and you have some situations here. Like I say, most people they handle guns responsibly. Most people don't go out and that own guns and don't go out and kill people. The vast majority of people that own guns in this country have never went out and killed anybody or shot anybody. They only use it for protection or they use it to hunt. But then, like I said, we do have those individuals that's going to use those guns to go out and rob people and kill people. So, like I just saying, when you produce the amount of guns and weapons that we produce in this country, and I'm sure more people at one time, more people died from actually being stabbed and actually shot, and that may still be the case. But when you have those kind of weapons and stuff like that, you're gonna have some situations like that. But most people, like you say, most people aren't going out doing it. A gun just don't shoot somebody on his own. It's got to be pointed. It's got to be loaded. So, I mean, I'm definitely in agreement with you on that right there. So,
hey, just let me know, man. If I ever want to have a whole space about the guns, I promise you I'm going to stand 10 toes down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we can definitely do that. We can definitely hold a space on that. And, we just, like I said, the night was about the actual, just the rappers themselves, just what they're getting hit with, they're getting killed with, and whatnot. I like to see some kind of resolution. I like to see actually us as black people, as a community, stand up and actually start to, to kind of steer some of this stuff away from us and whatnot. And we still not doing that. We, as a black group, as black people, we act too powerless, like we can't do anything. We can't keep waiting on government intervention to help us out as a people. We have to go ahead and take the bull by the horns, and we're not doing that. And because we're not doing that, we're suffering as a people. Let's start looking after our own more. Yes, it's going to be nice to go ahead and have the government actually come and do something, but we've been here for hundreds of years, and we've seen the government has not ever done anything for our benefit, and they're not going to do anything for our benefit. So we have to go ahead and we have to take care of ourselves. If we see members of our community being gunned down left and right by other members, then we got to go ahead and check the ones that's up there killing people, shooting people down for no reason. because somebody's in entertainment or whatever. So to make a long story short, let me go ahead because, like I said, we've been going for a couple hours. So I just want to thank everybody that came into the space tonight. Y'all make sure y'all tune in tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have us another space, and I appreciate everybody who spoke tonight, everybody who came and listened, everybody who tweeted out. Make sure you guys tweet out the space again so your actual followers can get a chance to check us out. If you guys have not, make sure that everybody in the space is following us. I forgot to put the YouTube channel, but it's Newstoter, so you guys go to YouTube and follow us on Newstoter. Follow us on Newstoter. Follow us at Facebook. On Facebook at Newstoter. Follow us on Instagram at Newstoter. If you guys can, go ahead and contribute to us on Cash App. That's $Newstoter. And make sure you guys click the reminder for the notifications that we're going to send out tomorrow, so you can go ahead and catch us. If not, we'll be here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time anyway. So thank you to everybody who spoke tonight, everybody who supported the space as always. I appreciate you guys, and you guys have a good one, and we will see you tomorrow.